All right, so here we are. I saved the hours of flattening and sanding and all that, 5-6 hours of that. This is how you flatten a table. This is a router sled that I built. It's nothing fancy. It goes back and forth. You take off an 1/8 inch or less at a time. You slide it all the way down, and it makes the table nice and flat. After that's done, then the sanding begins. You got to get all the lines out and work your way up to about 120 and then 220 grit. So now I have this beautiful slab. Once the sanding is complete, or almost complete, it's at like 90% right now. I like to hit it with a little denatured alcohol just to see how the grain's going to pop out when it's all done. This will give you a pretty good idea on just how nice these tables can be when they're flooded with epoxy. You got this really nice Spalding maple here with all these cool lines in here, and that's a pretty nice grain. So my original thought was to make it like a hallway table and keep it a nice skinny table with small legs. It would fit in a hallway, really nice for any kind of plants or stuff that you would want to put on there. But now, after some thought, I think that I'm going to cut this right down the center and flip it end to end and put the outsides on the inside, and I'm probably going to make a small river table, coffee table. That's my thought. So I'm going to hook up the skill saw and I'm going to cut this baby right in half, and then we'll take a look at what the potential could be. And here we go. Okay, let's see where we're at. There's one, there's two. I'm going to remove my stabilizers that I use when you're using a router table. You can't have. Do a little quick cleanup. Be prepared for lots of sawdust if you're going to run a router table, or flattening table, I should say. Okay, so here's our two pieces right in half. So we're going to take this one and turn it this way, and we're going to take this one and turn it this way, and then let's see, I'm going to flip it over. Let's see how I like that. I think I like it the other way, the original way. So now we're going to have a river table down here, squared off. It'll be a coffee table. Looks like it's going to work out to be 42 inches long, and we'll make it the standard 15 to 16 inches wide. That's going to look pretty cool. Okay, I've gotten my table. This is what I use for a form on the bottom. It's just a standard plastic table that the epoxy does not stick to, but just as an insurance policy, I always coat the table with just a standard, this is Formula 1 car wax. It won't stick to the wax, so that's what I use. And when I'm done, this table will pop right off of here, no problem at all. So I've already taken the time to silicone the wood down on this side. Now I'm just going to put some silicone on this side so the epoxy doesn't leak underneath. I'm just going to run a bead right around where it's going to touch, just like this. I'm going to run right in there just to fill that crack. And I always run 2 just to be sure. I hate epoxy leaks. They're really no fun. So that's that. So we're going to flip her over. We're going to set our distance and let that squish down. Just going to square up the ends just to get it pretty close. Got to come up just a little bit right there. And then we're going to do a 15-inch wide table. So I'm at 15.5. I'll make it that. Way off on this side here. So I'm going to turn it, slide her in. Right there's 15.5 on that side. $15.5 all the way through. So for the ends, I use plexiglass, just like that. Epoxy won't stick to that either. But I do run just to make sure, because we don't need any epoxy sticking to anything that we don't want it to stick to. This wax looks like I need to update my wax. But I just run some wax right on the glass, just like that. And that epoxy will not stick to that. So that's that. Gonna run a bead of caulk right down the edge of that. And we're gonna set that piece right on the table, just like that. It'll wipe it in. Wipe the back. I don't know if you can see it that good, but just gonna caulk that in nice and sweet right there. I'm just gonna come up the ends. Everything gets sealed off. Nothing worse than a leaky epoxy. Tap it in. You have to let that dry 100% before you do anything else. Here's the other piece right here. I'm going to cap off these ends. Just going to run some wax right on that plexiglass, just like that. Just going to run a bead of caulk right on the bottom. I'm just going to set it right on the table. Nice and square, just like that. Wipe that in tight. Run another solid bead right down the back. And that's it. Now the ends here, because the way this table is shaped, I'm going to have to put a couple little side pieces to close it off completely. I'll give you a close-up view of what it's going to look like. This is the table here. Here's the back, all nice and sealed, just like that. Wax right down the middle. Here's the little gaps that we have to look out for. Right there. We're going to have to close that off. Just right here, we're just going to have to close that off so no epoxy comes running out of there. I just have to cut a couple more pieces of 2-inch plexiglass and we'll be in business. Okay, so now we got her all locked in. Just going to do a little touch-up sanding and wipe her down with denatured alcohol. She's all sealed off, ready to go, ready for the pour. So if I was a normal person, I would just pick a color and make a river table. But anybody that knows me knows that I don't think out of the box all the time. So we're going to take this right here, this beautiful Carnival glass bowl that I don't want no more. and we're going to smash it to bits. And after we do that, we're going to sprinkle all those bits of glass all in down the center of this table and encase it in clear epoxy. So when I get to the smashing part, I'll bring it back in.